All right, everybody. All right, everybody. Thanks for waiting for us. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we resolved it. We are back. We are live. We hope you guys have stuck around long enough to bear with us because we have the one and the only Carl White in the house with us today. Carl, how are you?
I'm doing good, brother. It's just another beautiful day in paradise down here in the Clearwater Beach area, which is where mine and the lovely Mrs. White's humble adobe is. So good to see you, man. It's not near as nice as the DC area that you live in, but my gosh, it's a close second.
I actually would prefer Clearwater right now. There's that what's that popular grouper sandwich place you guys got down there?
Oh,
Right? I was down there about a
I can't think of
couple
it.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's like this famous grouper
Frenchies,
sandwich. There you go,
Frenchies,
Frenchies, right?
French.
And then he also had with French fries, crab meat dipped into the French fries, which is like, are you kidding me? Like, are
Yeah.
you like this is laugh, lend, and eat, Carl? So I mean,
So well, even better. For the first time, I had octopus, and it's like when they bring it out, it doesn't look like little cut pieces of meat. It's like an octopus. Like I should be seeing this at the marina, kind
Yeah,
of, or the aquarium. And it was like, oh man, but I tell you what, it was tasty. It was but I'm a new vegetarian, man.
are you really?
I am.
Wow.
No
How,
kidding. I am. I went vegetarian. I came to the dark side.
so now listen, vegetarian, vegan, plant based. Now, which one are you like? Vegetarian, you'll eat cheese and you'll
I'm
do dairy.
hardcore. No eggs, no
Plant-based.
cheese, no milk products. Hardcore.
All right, so that's plant based, vegan.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
you
I
gotta give
and
you gotta
brother,
give
let me
away
tell
your,
you
you
something.
gotta give away your
I
leather
don't.
belts and leather shoes.
I don't do. No, I still have. I still ride a Harley Davidson that's got leather seats. Right. So yeah. So and I don't do anything halfway, man. I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. Which
Yeah,
which Fabio, that's a blessing and a curse. It's a
it
blessing
is.
and a curse. But
It
I don't
is.
do anything just a little bit. Yeah.
I did vegan for a year and a half, and I will
Good for you,
tell you
man.
that the inflammation in my body literally went away.
Wow.
And the only thing that put me back on like I do like a pescatarian type diet nowadays, but where
Yeah.
it's I was having memory loss because I just wasn't eating enough calories. My doctor was saying,
Mm.
and so unfortunately, hey, listen, we've turned Laugh, Learn, and Eat into a nutritional podcast today.
And there you go. You never know what you're going to get served on the plate. So there's
Ooh,
the
look
lesson
at
for
that!
today.
It's served
Hey, it
on
was
the plate.
great being here. Thanks so much for having me on, and we'll catch all you guys next time.
Listen, you are the founder of Mortgage Marketing Animals, the Freedom Club. You are a branch manager of a highly successful branch. I mean, I've done some research on your all's numbers. It's pretty incredible what you guys are doing. You've also like gone out of your way to help mortgage loan officers. I mean, just when I see pictures of your sessions, there's like throngs and throngs of loan officers just like, you know what I mean? It's monumental what you've accomplished and the passion is still there. I know that because of my conversations with you in the past. How I mean, I just got to ask. I mean, what precipitated all this? Like, what was that moment where you said, "I want to do this"? Like you just said, all or nothing. You know what I mean? What was that moment?
I'd love to tell you I was inspired that I woke up one morning and I saw this ray of sunlight and it came through my window just so, and I had this bright light of inspiration. Didn't work that way. It was desperation. And
Okay,
so it's for me, it started quite a few years ago, actually. And I was just in a job. It was a great job, right? It was a very honorable profession, but I just hated it. Like, absolutely hated
mhm,
it. And I was driving home from work one day and I saw a buddy of mine shop, didn't know what he did, but I knew him, saw his name, pulled in and said, "Hey man, what do you do?" And he said, I'm a mortgage broker. I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, I loan people money, they're buying houses." And I said, "Oh, what, you got a bunch of money and you loan it out kind of thing?" He said, "No, no, no. I find banks that have money and I find borrowers who are looking to buy a house that need money and I put the two together." And I thought, man, that sounds like the easiest gig ever. Right. And so I quit a 6-figure job, Everybody thought I
Wow.
was crazy. Yeah. Everybody thought I was crazy, and had a wife and 3 kids is counting on me to make it happen. And, I've this saying that I don't do the best I can. I do what it takes. Right. Because if I say, hey, man, I'm doing the best I can, that always sounds like the concession speech of the losing football team. We did the best we
Mm.
could, and so, man, don't do the best you can. Do whatever, legal, ethical, and moral. Do whatever it takes, and that's it. So anyway, so it wasn't out of inspiration; it was out of desperation. And I work really well when I got a fire under my butt. That
Yeah.
seems to motivate me pretty well. So
It's interesting.
yeah,
You bring up football, and I love football. I love it to pieces. I mean, I have seasons where living in DC, by the way, obviously, we're very excited that Dan Snyder sold the team. We could do an entire episode on that, right? Quite honestly. But to me, I was telling my loan officers one time, imagine a football press conference post game, right?
yeah,
And the coach comes up and says, well, we didn't really have a game plan. We just kind of came out and we wanted to see what Green Bay Packers were going to do. And I was going to kind of move my defense accordingly. And I just never
yeah.
put a game plan together.
Yeah, we'll react to what they're doing. We'll react to what they're
How
doing.
long would a coach stay in the NFL if he gave that kind of press conference, right?
Yeah, not very long. Yeah, not very
So I
long.
began to
And it's
wonder-
really. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just began to wonder how many loan officers walk in every single morning without a game plan.
Almost all. Just being honest, almost all.
Yeah.
Like almost all. And I think those of us who have been doing this for a long time are just as guilty as those. Frank, I've seen an interesting thing happen here this year. So I've seen like seasoned loan officers that were closing, say 10, 12, 8, and some literally 100, but say 10, 12 loans per month. That's kind of the typical doing okay, kind of loan officer. And then today I see some of those that were closing 8, 9, 12. Today I see a lot of them closing like 2, for the month. Right. But here's the funny thing is I also see loan officers that are been in the business for 1 year. And like there's a loan officer in Steve Kyle's branch, been in the business. I think it's 14 months now. And she closed 9 loans last month, brand new in the business. Right. Yeah. So how is it that these seasoned pros that were closing 9 are now closing 2, yet at the exact same period in time, you've got somebody brand new to the business that theoretically doesn't know up from down. And yet they have 9, they're spanking those that have been in business for a long time.
What is the difference? I mean, to me, there's a couple of things, but you're intimately involved in that kind of stuff. So, I mean, what is the difference?
It's you know what happened, man, is the not yet last year, but the 2-3 years prior to that, I think we were all busy patting ourselves on the back, telling ourselves how brilliant we were to be making so much money. And while we're out fishing, fish are just jumping in the boat. That became our new normal. And as long as we were going downhill with a tailwind of 50 miles an hour blowing, we find we're moving the bicycle along pretty good. What happens is when the tailwind stops and when it's not even going uphill, just flattened out, I think a lot of loan officers forgot how to pedal. And so the seasoned pros, they forgot how to pedal. And the new people coming in, they didn't experience that last 2-3 years where it was just, everybody was just blowing. Our biggest issue was we had so many leads coming in. We had so many referrals coming in. Our biggest issue was building a team fast enough. Right. And
do you think that passion, I mean, people have kind of like, you brought up the word passion earlier today. Do you think the seasoned pros just kind of lost their passion? Like they made so much money, like all of a sudden it was just like, I'll just sit this out until this turns around? Or I've heard a lot of guys say like, I'll be on vacation or I'm going to be doing this. I had one loan officer, they started a totally different industry. And like, Bob, I'm just going to go work over there until things figure out or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's the breaking news. Things have figured out and here we are. And if somebody's saying, hey, I'm going to wait till the next time we have record-breaking production, and then I'll get back in. Well, last time it took, 80 years for that to happen.
Right.
And so if they want to wait another, I don't know, maybe it'll happen next year, maybe the year after, maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe 80. I don't know. But for
Mhm.
me, I'm gonna look to see what we have now, and I'm gonna make now work. And I'm not
Hmm.
going to do the best I can. I'm going to do whatever it takes. As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'm going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it for me personally. I'm going to do it a 32-hour work week.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we see people doing it, you know, all the time, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just have to remember what it feels like to pedal. That is like, oh, come to find out when you have a 7, 8. I personally brought in, I think, what was it, $13,200,000 is what I brought in, you know, in a 12-month period. Not in closing loans, but like income,
Sure.
right? That's what I
Yeah.
made.
Uh-huh.
And and that's a lot of money, like a lot of money. Or you take somebody that's even doing 300, 400, $500,000, brother, that's some serious jack. Like that's a lot
Yeah.
of cash.
Right.
Like a neurosurgeon has to go to school for like 16 years to make that kind of money. Oh, by the way, they're on call 24/7 and working all the time. We can do that in a 32-hour work week with a very simple activity. But the problem is we have to actually do that activity, and come to find out, we actually have to work good old fashioned elbow grease, that we can't just sit around and react and wait till the phone rings. We have to. I heard a good friend of mine, Paul Dolan, said something, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, that I loved. He said, Carl, I'm going to work this year how hard I should have had it needed to work the last few years to make the kind of money that I made. But I didn't
Interesting.
have to work hard, so now I do.
Yeah, I looked at files one time, and I was looking how many hours does a loan officer actually spend on a file, like working hours. Like you meet with the borrower, you know, I don't know, 45 minutes if they don't do it online, right? But if you actually meet
Yeah.
with the borrower, right, 45
Yeah.
minutes, right,
Yeah.
kind of screening everything, maybe now I don't know, somewhere in there. If you don't have an LOA, you kind of put things together. If you have an LOA, you pass it off. If you have a processor, you pass it off. You maybe handle some conditions. I mean, I don't know, and I hope people don't get mad at me for saying stuff like that, but I'm thinking no more than 5 really cumulative hours between the time that the file starts and the file ends is pretty.
Yeah. And I would argue if somebody's spending 5 hours, they're doing way too much of the activity, not near enough
Yeah,
prospecting.
yeah. Right. But I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
go ahead and
But we're on the same
right?
page. Yeah, we're on the same page. Yeah.
So if you made, let's just say $2,500 on that file
Yep.
at 5 hours, I mean, it's $500 an hour. I mean, Jesus, that's attorney fees.
That's pretty good money where I come from.
That's a DC attorney.
Yeah,
Trust me, I'm not
that's
to
pretty.
pay 'em.
Yeah, that's pretty good money. You know what it is, man. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. I thought, what is it that holds most loan officers back? What is it
Mm.
that has most loan officers avoiding the very activity that they know that'll bring in loans, and spend 80% of their day chasing shiny whistles to bring in new business?
Yeah.
Is if I spend all my time checking my emails, I can't fail at that, right? I'm not going to get a no by checking my emails, or gee, I need to go like everybody's post on whatever. And
Sure.
I'm on the social networks, right? But I'm not going to spend my day on there liking somebody's post on Instagram, right? Because that doesn't bring in loans, right? Now we can use social media to bring in loans, but in my world, I wouldn't touch social media until I'm closing at least 5 loans a month, just for me personally. I'm not saying somebody else can't do that successfully, but in my world, I'm going to do the actual activity that brings loans in, because I'm willing to risk failing. I'm willing to
Mm.
risk it not working out. I'm willing to risk somebody saying no to me, because the yeses are very, very lucrative. And if I go in there and like people's posts, I can't fail at that. I can't fail at email. I can't fail at rearranging the file. I can't fail at where does a stapler go on my desk, right? I can't fail at those things. So it's only, I had somebody tell me something about probably 30 years ago that really changed my life. And it's a very simple thing. He said, Carl, risk looking stupid. Risk
Mm.
looking stupid.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer. Now here's the thing. Like if you find out that I failed, like if I said, hey brother, I tried to learn how to ride a unicycle, and man, it just didn't work out for me. Like in loan officers' minds, it's like, well, if I call on somebody and they say no, for the next 10 years, that person is thinking they're a loser, they're begging. Like, I can't wait to call on my friends and say that, Carl wanted to meet me for coffee and he was trying to get me to refer to him. The nerve of that guy. I can't believe he did that. I can't wait to post on social media, and I can't wait to go to the Realtors Association and make an announcement from the stage. Carl White called my office and want to do like, none of that happens. Right. But that's our fear, and I just learned that people don't think about us near as much as we think they do. You know what I mean?
So look, you walked me into this, and I know I brought this up when we were on Ginger Bill's show together, but obviously I got to bring this up because we're talking about fear, right? So
Yeah.
we are literally 5 days. I just looked it all up while you were talking. 5 days from the 4-year anniversary that you changed my life around. So on April 25th, 2019, at the NAMBA in Atlanta, right? You literally said, fear is peeing in your pants and courage is doing what you need to do with wet pants. And it was like, bingo. Think about this, Carl. I'm not joking with what I tell you. If I hadn't heard you say those words that day, and I put it in my phone to this day, still in my phone, right? I would have done this podcast. I would be doing half of the stuff that I did in the last 4 years if I didn't hear those words.
Well, but let me tell you something, my man. I'm going to throw it right back at you. I've had, literally probably at this point, literally 100,000 loan officers that I've given that exact same message to. And a small handful, my brother, just like you, take it and run with it. So I'm going to give you all the credit, man. It's not the message, it's the action taken by the person receiving the message that makes it happen. And so you were willing to risk, quote, looking stupid. What if I do a podcast and nobody shows up and nobody listens, it doesn't go anywhere? And you know what? If you did, so what? Like, exactly. Hell, if nobody showed up, nobody know it didn't work out. And like, who cares? Dude, have you ever heard my first webinar story?
No, please.
So my first webinar, so this is back in 03, 04. So I was a very early adopter on the webinar scene. So my first webinar, I had a grand total of, guess how many people actually attended my first webinar?
If I had to guess, I'm going to say 2 or 3.
Yeah, 0. 0. And so I learned from that, and I got a big list. I emailed out to it. This is before Facebook. I emailed out to it and with a very compelling message to attend my webinar. And I thought, I got it this time. So I emailed out and sent them like reminders and all this stuff. So guess how many people showed up on the second one?
Oh man, I don't want to take a guess this time.
Yeah.
Give me the number.
0.
Give me the
0.
I don't want to say that.
But you know what, brother? I did it anyway. I held the webinar. Nobody was on, and I went through my presentation anyway. So I thought, all right, I've done it twice. Nobody showed up. I literally called my mother, and I said, "Hey, Mom, I think I'm onto something here. But nobody's showing up yet. I'm still doing my presentation, but I want to see what it looks like when somebody's on. Like I just like, what do they see on their screen? Do I sound okay? Does it look okay? Like what?" I said, would you mind? I'm going to send you an invite along with these other people. Do you mind signing in? So I at least have one. And my brother Johnny at the time had gone through a divorce and went and stayed with her for about 6 months or so. And she said, absolutely. And I'll have Johnny, and my brother, very techie, and Johnny can help me. I said, awesome. I got my mother who loves me. I got my brother that would literally take a bullet for me. At least they'll be on. So I sent it out to all these people again. Guess how many showed up on the third one?
2.
0.
Hold on. Your mom didn't show up?
My mom and brother forgot, and they didn't show up either. And I did it anyway. But you know what, brother? I'm so glad that happened. And I'm so glad that I persevered and did it anyway. Because now I've had, oh my gosh, I have just the massive amount, like 100,000, loan officers on my webinars. And it's just risk looking stupid. And, I think it was the fourth one that I finally had somebody show up. And I think it was like 4 people. And I wasn't like, oh, I'm all embarrassed. It was only 4. I was like, hey, somebody's here. Right?
Yeah.
This was exciting. A good friend of mine, John Hinks, just held an event. And he said 6 people showed up, and he was expecting 50. 6 people showed up. And you know what? He did a fantastic presentation for those 6 people, and 4 of the 6 went ahead and moved forward. And he lives up in Columbia, South Carolina. He just flew down here to Clearwater Beach to hang out with me, to share his moment of his win. That, hey, 6 people showed up and 4 ended up moving forward, with my call to action to do what I was going to do. And it's just, it's just going through the steps, doing it anyway. Nobody's thinking about you. Nobody thinks you look silly. People don't think about you as near as much as you think they do. They're too worried about what you think of them. So just do it.
Here's a question. No, it's okay. Jeff Lobb was on here recently. He's another coach and on the real estate side, not the mortgage side. I asked him this question, and I think you're just as qualified, if not more, to answer this question. Why don't people execute? I know we've defined the power of failure, right? Because people are afraid to fail, right? If there was nothing to be afraid of, what holds people back from executing? Like, I loved your video, by the way, the other day. I was looking at it. You have the one-page business plan. It was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Loved it to pieces. I'm actually using some of the ideas from it with my guys, right? Loved it. What holds people back from executing those ideas?
Fear of failure.
Okay, so if I take the failure out, like if I said, okay, you're never going to fail,
they would do it,
right? So then that comes back to this. What if the secret was to redefine what you consider failure?
Oh, that is the secret to it. Because for me, so I've got a master's degree in chemistry. So my background is, oddly enough, as crazy as it sounds, is like a biology chemistry guy, and I'm so grateful for that, because I learned in that studies of testing stuff, and so I'm a testing freak. Like, I test scripts against each other, and I do very detailed studies on these things. I structure what's the best day to call real estate agents, what's the best time, what's the best scripts, what's the best follow-up look like, how often do we follow up, when do we follow up, when we got a prospect, how often, what do we say, what time of day, and so I'm a very meticulous person on testing stuff and studying stuff, and it's just if we could eliminate the no failure thing, everybody would do it. I got off on a little bit of a tangent there, and I'm not sure.
No, what I want to do is I want to redefine. Like, I know we have the technical difficulty on LinkedIn, and we're on Facebook and YouTube right now, so I don't care. But this is gonna be recorded. This is really critical. We're about to get into is redefining what you consider as a failure.
Oh, that's right. So on my testing, if something doesn't work out, I just go, hey, that didn't work out. I didn't fail. That just didn't work out. I mean, that's like, dude, if I'm driving up to beautiful Alexandria, Virginia, to go hang out with you, and I have a flat tire, that's not a failure. Dude, the tire just went flat. Hey, you know what? Sometimes they do. And you know what? The more cars I have, the more motorcycles I have, the more toys I have, the more flats I'm going to have. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And so I guarantee you, nobody on this, it's very likely that I have more failures than anybody else that's watching this now, because I do more stuff, right? It's also very likely, and I don't mean this in an uncool way. In most groups, I have the highest income, but in most groups, I have the highest amount of people telling me, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. So I've got this formula. It's offers minus no's equals money. Offers minus no's equals money. So if I want to make more money, I got to make more offers. Well, when I make more offers, I'm going to get more no's, right? It's just how it works. And what most people do is they focus on, how do I not get the no's? Hey, I'll give you a way. I guarantee you'll never get a no. Make no offers, right? Make no offers. You'll get no no's. You'll make no money. If you want to make more money, there's only one way to do it. It's simply make more offers. And when you make more offers, you make more no's. I think so many people, they focus on how do I stop the no's? And I'll tell you something, man. And this kind of weirds me out a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I meet with a real estate agent, about 16% will say yes and start doing business with me. Well, that's not a bad number, because every time I get a yes, if that agent sends us a deal a month, right, and we make whatever, everybody's different, but let's say we
Sure.
make $3,000 per closing, that means that agent's worth 36 grand. So every time I get an agent that says yes, I make I can make 36 grand if we do what it takes to continue having them refer to us. Anyway, so I close at a ratio of about 16%. If I meet with them for coffee or Zoom or however we do it, 16% of those people send me business. So that was my numbers today. Now, if I go back to when I first started it, you know what my numbers were then? 16%. It's the weirdest thing ever. You'd think, all right, Carl, I've been doing this for decades, right?
Hold on, but
And
I want to time out real quick, because you got 60% saying yes.
16.
Yeah, 16%, but 84% are saying no.
84% say no. And I make a
about that,
fortune.
Carl.
I
Great
literally
Carl
win the
White,
lottery.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I literally have the income of winning the lottery every single year, because I get so many no's. And I hear people say, well, celebrate the no's. Screw that. I'm not going to celebrate any no, right? I'm not going to celebrate a loss, but I will celebrate the wins. And I know that the more offers I make, the more no's I'm going to get, the more money I'm going to make. And instead of focusing on how do I get less no's, I've spent the last 23, 24 years, and my no rate, I don't know why that is, but it's almost exactly the same.
Does it drive you crazy,
as when I first started?
Does it drive you crazy? Like you can't get to 18%?
You know what just drives me crazy is, why is that number the same? Like, why? I mean, either A, I've gotten more crass and nobody likes me and it'd go down, or I've gotten more seasons, like it's the same. And the funny thing is other people that's in our group that does the same thing, that number seems to be almost universal. That's like when we get referred leads, they close at about 25%. And when other people do the exact same thing we do, if they want 10 closings for the month, they just simply need 40 referrals.
Right.
That's all it is. And so the numbers for some reason seem constant. And so don't focus on how do I get rid of the no's. Focus on how do I make more offers, and the money will 100% come.
The thing that I've seen with you, Carl, is you're a numbers guy, scaling up. You know what I mean? Like if I make X amount, then this will happen. This pull through, this percentage.
Yeah, I'll give you a number. Okay. If you get 2 referred leads per day, and we're going to assume you make somewhere around $3,000 per closing. Some are just brand new in the business and their BIPs are lower. Some are bigger houses. Some are smaller, banker, broker, whatever. And if your numbers are different than that, just use it. But 2 referred leads per day at $3,000 per closing at a 25% closure rate, which is just okay. That's $500,000 in income a year. Jesus. So if somebody says, hey, how do you make $500,000? No, wrong question. The question is, how do I get 2 referred leads a day? Once you crack that, you'll make the $500,000. So yeah, I'm a numbers guy.
And to get 2 referred leads a day, right?
Yep.
Means I have to get if I call 100 realtors, 84 realtors are going to say no to me. Hypothetically speaking.
I can't say for you, but I can say for me, yes, sir. Yeah, that's exactly.
Hypothetically speaking, right? I mean, 84 no's, 16 yeses. Eventually, that will roll into 2 referred leads a day.
Which doesn't take long, by the way.
And you're making $500,000.
That's exactly right. And that's not like, look, and this is not like pie in the sky. I mean, because like 16% yes is not a phenomenal yes rate. And frankly, closing 25% of our referred leads is not an off the chart high number, right? It means that like on ours, half of them are pre-approvable. In other words, half of our referrals are not, we can't do anything with them, right? They just went 1099. They have severe credit issues. They don't have any money. They don't qualify for no income. And so only half of our referrals are a good lead. They might be great people, but they're only half are good leads. And then of the ones that we pre-approve, we only close half of those. The other half, they shop us. They end up not buying. Their brother-in-law come to find out as a banker, like whatever. Mm-hmm. But so our numbers of 25% and 17% are not like you know, I'm not like Anthony Robbins or Charleston Heston where I walk on water. Like my numbers are just average. I just do more of them than most people.
So let me ask you a question then. In this current climate where everyone, and I don't know how you're dealing with this, right? Everyone is, to me, says, "Oh, Fab, we have an inventory issue in our market. We have no inventories. The builders are lowering their rates on the in-house mortgage company that they're dealing business with. They're giving more incentives. No matter how many, I have 22 pre-approved buyers looking for a house. They can't find a
That's
house.
not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough. That's it. Let me tell you something. First of all, in-house companies capture about 22% of the business, which means 78% of the deals in that in-house are going to people like me and you. I'll tell you something else we have to be careful of too. Words are spells. Words are spells. So if I say something like everybody says yes and everybody says no and everybody's doing this and everybody's doing that, let me tell you something. Everybody, nobody, all of them, none of them, those are very, very big words.
Yeah.
And I will say is virtually never the case. And what'll happen is we'll talk to three people and one said, or those three say no, thank you. And we go, well, this doesn't work. I even talked to three people. It's not enough. So if you got 22 pre-approved and you're not getting enough closing, number one, make sure you're calling them every single Thursday. And we do a thing called future casting where we get them re-excited about buying and calling them every Thursday. If you're doing that and you don't have the amount of closings you have, just go get more. Go get more. Like find out, I don't know what your matrix is. Go find out what your matrix is. Like, let's say, hey, if I have 22, I get 3 closings. Awesome. Get 44 and you'll have 6.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, go ahead.
Does a loan officer ever frustrate you?
Does a what?
Like when working with a loan officer, do you ever get frustrated? Like the guy says, Carl, I can't do it, or Carl, the formula's not working for me in this particular market.
No. Wait. Let me clarify something. I've never had somebody say the formula doesn't work because the formula works.
Okay.
What's happening is they're not working the formula. So I tell them all, let me tell you something. You're not trying this. This is proven. Like this has worked literally thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of times at this point, right? You're not testing it. It's testing you. The question is, are you going to tap out? I tell you what kills me, man, is somebody said, well, Carl, man, I'm just gonna have to go get a regular job. And I said, dude, if you treated this like a regular job, you'd be wildly successful and have a 6-figure income.
It's amazing.
And it's the freedom that we have as loan officers is our blessing and our curse. Right. And it's our blessing and our curse. And so we have to we can't abuse that freedom. Like for me, it's 9 to 11, Monday through Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 11, prospecting time, 100%. And it's not like I'm getting ready to, or I'm searching online to who can I call? No. From 9 to 11, I'm on the phone. I'm making phone calls. You do that, and there is zero chance that you won't hit in the next 12 months a 6-figure income. Impossible.
Yeah. So the funny thing is our business is not rocket science.
It's not.
Right. But yet somehow some of the people in our industry have kind of made it a rocket science situation.
It's the smart people. Like they're too smart. Let me tell you something. It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult for a smart person to also be a good business person. I know that sounds crazy, but it is, because they'll take a very simple process and they'll, how can I make this hard? Not hard. They can only think, how can I make this? Well, if that works, what extra things can I add in to make it work even better? And they haven't even done it the first way yet. Like they start, well, let me go set up my CRM first, right? Which a CRM is a great thing to set up. Or let me go get my Instagram going, which is a great thing to do. Or let me go figure out this AI first, and then I'll start doing it, which is an okay thing to do, just not until we're closing at least 4, 5, 6 loans a month. And then we start adding those things on one at a time. But until then, man, it's just sticking to becoming brilliant at the basics. That's really just the bottom line to all this. It's just be brilliant at the basics and turn your brain off and just follow simple stuff. In the industry, I'm kind of known as a guy that I'll get people, they say, well, Carl, man, the way you take something complicated and make it easy is brilliant. I go, no, dude, you don't understand. I can't follow a 15-step funnel. Like I get lost, I get chest pain. I'm not that smart. And so I get rid of all the clutter and I end up with this very little simple thing that I can follow because I have this thing, and it's a real thing. I'm not saying this to be humble. It's a real thing. I have what's called a low complexity ceiling. So something has to be really, really simple for me to be able to follow it, right? It's just the way my brain works. And I used to look at that as a curse. And then I found out, oh, that's an absolute blessing that I don't get lost in all the clutter. So for all of you smart loan officers out there, which is just being on, is going to be most of you, right? You just turn your brain off, focus on what you know works, and take a real look. Like I tell you, an easy thing to do is look at your last 10 loans that came in. And whether that was yesterday or last week or last month or the last 2 years combined, like however long it was, right? It's all good. But we all started somewhere. Identify, how did I bring in those last 10 loans? What do they have in common? Like, what did I do that brought them in? And we can't say, well, I close on time. No. Something happened for that loan to come in for you to close on time. Or I do what I say I'm going to do. I get that. But something, you did some activity to get those people to call into your phone when you picked it up and said, can I help you today? What was that activity? Identify what that is and do more of that and less of or eliminate everything else, even if it looks cool and sexy and all the cool kids are doing it.
Do you think that loan officers waste too much time processing a file?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Following
dude.
Following a file.
Absolutely. So let me tell you what let me tell you what works in my shop.
Please.
The phone rings. Somebody picks up the phone and they say, hey, I'd like to speak to Loan Officer Bob. Hey, Loan Officer Bob is helping another family right now, but he would not want you to wait. Let's move you to the front of the line. I'll start helping you now. They take the application. They set an appointment for that borrower and Bob to review the application. And so Loan Officer Bob gets a notification. Hey, you've got an application. We didn't talk loan program. We didn't talk rates, right? Because that loan partner's not to do that. Unless they're closing about 25 a month, then we have the loan partner help them sell the deal too. But in the early stages, no, just take the information, which does not take a brain scientist, ask them their name, their phone number, where do you work, how long you've been there. I mean, this is simple stuff, right? So the loan officer sees the appointment, shows up at the appointment, and sometimes it's over the phone, sometimes it's on Zoom. Unlikely it might be in the office. Most of the time it's going to be on a Zoom type thing. They sell the deal. The customer says, yep, that looks good to me. I'll take that deal. I know that this is my monthly payment. This is my cash to close. And this is the term of the loan, 15, 30, like whatever it is, right? And I go, yep, I'm in for that. Awesome. And then the loan officer says, is there anything that would prevent me from being your lender at this point? And they go, nope, we're good. Awesome. He then hands it off to the loan partner. The loan partner then takes it all the way to closing. And in that time, the loan officer are going to look for another yes. That's where the money is. And so so I think paper pushing, it's an honorable thing. It's a good thing. It certainly needs to be done. It's just for loan officers, you can't afford it. You go, wait a minute, Carl, I don't have enough help. I don't have enough loans closing that I can get that kind of help. Hell, find 3 other loan officers and pull together. Like if we're each closing, say 2 a month, get like 4 of us, because a good loan partner can handle about 8 files using what I just mapped out, maybe 9, maybe 10. So find 3 other people, and when I say partner, hell, they don't even have to work at the same company. Right? You could work at mine and yours, and then somebody else's and somebody else's, and it's best if you work for the same company or brand, just for the LOS situation. But sharing a system.
Years ago, man. I've been in the business since 1994. I got in the business in 1994. You know what I mean? With handwritten applications and good faith estimates and that kind of stuff.
Dude, I'm not worthy to be on this call. Good for you, man. I suddenly feel inadequate. You
are more than adequate, my brother. Trust me. But this guy said most loan officers will make 80% of their income off 20% of their efforts. 100%. Figure out what that 20% is, Fob, and you'll never fail. And that's literally 100%. What I started doing the first 6 years of I was a full-time LO at that time, right? And I just figured out, like, if I have to hire this person, I'll pay them. I'll invest in this person. I'll pay them. This guy will do that. This guy, because my job was going out, and this is what I should always tell people. Like when they say, "What do you do?" I would say, "I tell dirty jokes and smoke cigars on the golf course." That's what I do.
And that works. Right. I didn't say what brings in the last 10 loans. I said, figure out what it does and do more of that. So for you, playing more golf, smoking more cigars, telling more dirty jokes.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds so silly, right? But I mean, that's how you create the relationships that bring in the
Yeah.
revenue. Because ultimately, it's about
Yeah.
bringing in the revenue, right?
Yeah.
We look at units, but it's revenue. And to me, that's what it was.
Really what we are, the most successful loan officers, what they really are is business development reps, like really.
Yeah.
And that's the most successful ones. That's what they are. And yeah, 'cause, brother, I know nothing about processing a file. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. Brother, I haven't ran DULP ever, like not once in my entire career of tens of thousands of loans. I've never once ran. I never learned how, and it wasn't by design. Just FYI, when it first came, because I've been in about as long as you. You've been in it a little longer though, brother. So good for you. But it used to be that we'd take a handwritten application and we would fax it over to the underwriter, and then the underwriter would send back, the DU findings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in, I don't know, whatever it was, 03, 04, somewhere around there, where we could start doing our own desktop underwriting. I was busy, and my assistant, Lori, I said, well, Lori, why don't you figure that out and then teach me? I'm going to go get some more loans right now real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, gosh, it like my own personal production averaged probably about, I don't know, 50 or so loans a month. My best month ever was 72, but on average, 40 to 50, I guess, 52, somewhere in that neighborhood was where. So what happened? We got so busy because I was out there prospecting. I never learned the DULP because, Lori kept saying, Carl, I need to show you this. I said, well, I don't have time. I don't have time. And then I'd have time. I said, you want me to do this? She goes, no, go get some more. Go get some more. And so it wasn't by design. It was just like, it never happened because I found I made more money going getting new business and not learning how to do a piece of software. Like even today, like our CRM, I don't even know how to log in. I literally have never seen our CRM. We have two of them. I write the checks for it. They're Mac Daddy systems. I know the names of them. I've never logged in once, but I know but somebody in my office does. And they put up on my schedule, hey, Carl, call these people today. And here's the reason why you're calling these people. And I just spend my time going from call to call to call to call.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. I hope people really understand. I mean, this is like basic mortgage origination 101, what we just went through here in the last 40 minutes.
It is.
It's just, to me, it's just getting over the fear. Don't be too smart and execute.
And remove the distractions.
Oh, remove the distractions. Thank you.
Number one thing, remove the distractions. Remove the distractions. Hey, I got something for you. I know we're coming up on closing here. I came up with this shocking thing. I just got it in. So this is the first group that I'm putting this to. I'm getting ready to blow your mind. And this may. So I'm going to sit here. I'm looking at a PowerPoint slide. Can I show a PowerPoint slide?
John, can you share? Let's ask John if you can make that happen. I don't know. I think you can. Go ahead and hit the present button on the
share
bottom.
Screen.
There you go.
I think I just did it.
Nope. Is there a present button down there on the bottom? I think it should say present. It's like my mom trying to take a picture with her Apple iPhone.
All right, it won't let me do it. It's making me restart my screen. So, all right, so I'll just read it to you here real quick.
Okay.
So, cancel. So get this. So this is from the Mortgage Bankers Association.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was, how did you find your loan officer? How did you find your loan officer? So in other words, and this is all loans. This is refis and purchases. Guess what the number one way that people found their loan officer was?
I'm going to guess referrals.
That's right. Realtor referral, number one. Yeah. It was 35%.
Yeah.
Friend and family, 27%. Man, it'd be a good thing to write these down. This is remarkable. So, because this is not going to end up how you think. And it certainly didn't end up how I thought. 35% was real estate agent referral. 27% was friends and family. Now that's both with purchase and refi. If we go just purchase, it's 67% real estate agent.
Jeez.
So 67% of all loans are closed with the loan officer that the real estate agent recommended.
Wow.
Maybe
Wow.
I'll work on that.
Wow.
67%. Wait, so here goes more. So now we're going to go back to all loans, both purchase and refi. So 35% real estate agent, 27% friend family, 14% bank. In other words, I bank at whatever, Bank of Florida, hypothetically.
Sure.
And I walk in there and I do the bank there. All right. Here's where it gets interesting. Online search, 11%.
Really?
So like, yeah, they go on Google, 11%. So it's real estate agent, friends, family, bank, online search, other. Here's the shocker. Social media, 3%.
So hold on, Carl. I hear all these people saying that they're killing it on TikTok or Instagram Reels.
They're lying. They're absolutely full of crap. I see their production reports.
Really?
You'll have one or two outliers, because you're always going to have an outlier. And so if you'll notice, you'll hear the same story 50 times because it's 50 different people interviewing one person. So 3% is social media. 3%.
Yeah.
Why would I? Now, do I do social media? I do. But I can tell you, I know a lot of top producing loan officers that are at like super high level. I can't think of one exception where this chart doesn't fall into place, where every single top producer I know is either past database or realtor referral. Because again, where it said 27% was friends and family, that's why we market to our past database. Like they're friends. Like when we call our past database 4 times a year, and we call our past database 4 times a year, our call to action is, can I count on you anytime a friend, family, coworker is looking to buy, sell, or refinance? And they say, well, sure, of course you can count on me, Carl, right? They all say that. And so because I've reached out to them and asked them to refer their friends and family to me, they do. So most of our loans that we get from our past database isn't with our past database, is with their friends and family members, which falls right into place with that 27%. So again, it was 35% real estate agent, 27% friends, family, 14% bank, 11% online search, 3% social media, which by the way means that online search, getting on a Google search, is what? Almost 400% more important than social media.
Wow.
And marketing to my past database is 900% more effective than social media. So if you're not calling your past database 4 times a year, you just hate money. I'm just telling you.
I would have never expected social media to be that low or along with the online.
Yeah, I'm telling you, brother, it's the, you ever read that old child's book, The Emperor Has No Clothes?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here. Yeah.
Wow. So listen, we are past our time, Carl. I know we took more time from you than you had actually promised us, and I still appreciate all the value brought to the show today. Hope you come back, man. I hope you come back. I hope we get to break some bread together.
It's an honor to play in your sandbox, brother. Good stuff. I love your podcast, and good stuff. So I appreciate you putting me on. I know I'm a little unconventional, and this might get edited out.
No, man, I love this
good,
because
but,
to me, it's just basic stuff. You know what I mean? Basic. I'm an old school guy. There's nothing fancy about me other than this podcast and this music playing in my ear headphone now. So,
well, great stuff, brother. You're a class act. Love what you're doing, and thanks for what you're doing to the industry, man. You're making a difference, and people are noticing, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. JP, if you could do the honors and get us out of here, brother. Let's do it.